Hey friends, so good to see you again. We are starting chapter 5, which is our very last chapter that we're covering this semester. Now, of course, we're going to use the same textbook next semester, so you know, don't get rid of your textbook. But yeah, we're starting chapter 5. We're done with 1 through 4, which was first we reviewed and then we talked about derivatives for a long time, and now we're going to start talking about integrals, which is another super important, very applicable part of calculus. So we're starting off slowly, and yet this chapter or this section is a little bit long, but stick with it. I promise you it's worth all the time that you spend watching the videos and reading through the notes and asking any questions that you have, because this is really laying our foundation for integration. So what we're going to start with is trying to answer the question of how do we measure or how do we calculate the area under a curve? So, between some function of x and the y or the x-axis, we're trying to measure that area. So what we're going to start is kind of a really simplified approach, which is just dividing that space into a bunch of rectangles. Rectangles are a super easy area because they're just length times width. So we're just going to be adding up a lot of rectangles today. It's something called a Riemann sum is what we're doing. And then we will, you'll see that, you'll see what happens as you get more and more rectangles. You end up getting a better approximation. And while it may seem tedious in the moment, I promise we are going to be building on this to get to integration. So this is our first step into calculating what that area is. And then in our, very soon we'll be able to calculate that area exactly, and you won't have to use the rectangle approach anymore. And the nice thing now is that you have websites that can just calculate it for you. Whereas, back in my day, I had to program my calculator to do a Riemann sum for me. But, straightforward ones we can do by hand. Anyway, so read those notes and I'll see you at the end.